Hi everybody, it's me, Willow, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have a great video for you guys. It's going to be my review to Wednesday Season 2, Part 2 of the season. I finally got around to finishing all of Season 2 when the second part was dropped on the 4th of September, I believe. I was at TIFF, so I only watched like one episode and then, for about 2 weeks, I stopped watching the series, but I finally got to finishing it. And I'm really glad that I did complete it. I do think season two feels like an entirely different entity than season one does. I feel like season one was going a little bit more classic Burton and going a little bit darker, and I think because of the positive reception from a lot of children and families, and obviously the Addams family, in the name, it's always been something geared for like the whole family to watch. I think they kind of shifted season two. Obviously, it incorporates more of the Addams family than they were featured in season one, and making this more kind of traditional Addams family. So, not that I don't like that, I just really did like season one and the tone that we had. If you've seen part one of my season two review, I'll make sure it's linked above and also below for you guys to go check that out. I did mention that I was a big fan of the Wednesday and Tyler romance. I thought the second half of season two or season one was very interesting, with that approach of maybe a normie and an outcast like getting together. I thought that was very intriguing, and also with Tyler's father being the sheriff. And I like how Wednesday was always trying to investigate the different crimes that was going on, and that being conflicting with Sheriff Gaplin. So I really liked the dynamic, and then at the end it's revealed Tyler is the Hyde, and I thought it was really cool and would be like, again, that kind of like darkness of like Wednesday maybe being in love with an actual monster. And in season two they really like dive away from that, and I know Jenna Ortega didn't really love the whole romance, specifically with the love triangle. I didn't really like the love triangle either, and there are deeper reasons why the actor who was in the first season that was also a part of the love triangle was not returned to the story, and they like wrote him out. And I agree that maybe we don't always need to have like a deep romance, but they're like giving Enid romances and stuff, so I don't know. I feel like the balance has not been found just yet. And maybe in season three, there'll be a better balance with Wednesday's investigating and romance or her friendship, because I felt like they were really trying to play into the Wednesday and Enid's relationship. And I know there is a big fan base who really do ship them. And I feel like they are just, again, like, I don't know what this balance is. Like, are they queer baiting us? Are, like, with the whole, like, the one episode where they switch like bodies, kind of like a Freaky Friday situation. I'm like, man, these what's their ship name? I don't know what their ship name is. Weenid or something like that. I feel bad for those fans, man. Like, I'm not really a big shipper of them. I prefer them just as friends. Like, I really do like the dynamic between the two actresses, and I like the, like the bold and bright that Enid brings, and then the more dark and more like simmering energy that Wednesday brings. I think they are really like, that's a good balance. Like, I really do like it. Like, I'm surprised I don't ship them because I usually do fall into that, but I've again, like, I'm more into like the Wednesday and Tyler. I feel like that, I don't know, like, I like the darkness, I guess. I like the more darker relationships, the like the enemies to lovers type thing. I don't know, but I feel like the whole episode with Wednesday and Enid switching bodies, and they were worried they were going to be stuck forever and they were going to like perish, and then they had to figure out like their deepest darkest secrets about one another's. I'm like, Okay, they are really queer baiting this fandom now. So I don't know. I just felt like this whole season felt like a little weird to me. And then, like, the ending, they're obviously really trying to plot the Uncle Fester, spin-off that has been confirmed by Fred Armisen. I believe a couple weeks ago he said that it is in the works officially. So that's what I was thinking, like, with season three. Like, I don't think that's been greenlit yet, but I was assuming it was going to be more away from the school and more focusing on the Addams family. And obviously, we're searching for Enid because at the end of the season, she fully transforms into a werewolf because she's an alpha during the full moon, and she's doing it to try and save Wednesday because she's been buried alive and they're not going to get to her in time. And that sacrifice again, like, I feel for you guys, the shippers. Maybe they're going to give it to us because I know that Jenna and I forget what the actress's name who plays Enid is, but I know they both, like, they also ship it and they would be for the relationship, and I wouldn't like be against it. I just hope it, like, maybe, it's kind of like Scully and a Mulder, like they progress it for a really long time, and it happens naturally. So I'll be interested to see, like, what happens with, because Uncle Fester and Wednesday are, like, on the search for Enid. She's, like, near the border of Canada. So they're trying to find her at the end of the season, and that's, like, setting up this whole Uncle Fester spin-off. So I'll be interested to see if the Uncle Fester spin-off is a more, like, singular, isolated spin-off that's just featuring Fred Armisen, or if it's going to be like a continuation of season two with Jenna Ortega in it. Like, obviously, you're going to have the other Addams family members make cameos because that's what everybody's going to want to see. So then I'm also wondering, like, what they're going to do with season three. Like, if it's like they're basically implied that the school's shutting down. Like, that's what I got from the end. Oh, I don't think they're coming back. Maybe they are going to reopen the school. Like, I don't know who's going to run the school because Steve Buscemi's gone, and then Gwendolyn Christie's Principal Weems is now gone as Wednesday's, like, force ghost type situation, spirit guide. I think that's what they called her. I also love that they're able to bring Gwendolyn Christie back for season two as the spirit guide because I love Gwendolyn Christie and she deserves to be on whatever TV show, whatever movie. She needs to be casted more, and I love that they brought her back, and I hope she comes back in season three. Honestly, she could be the spirit guide in season three too. So I really did, yeah, I don't know. I felt like it was kind of like lukewarm for me, if I'm being honest. I didn't love the whole, like, even though I do love Tyler and the whole Hyde storyline, I wasn't a big fan of his mother, Francois, and Isaac. Like, that whole storyline, I just wasn't a big fan of it. And I thought it was, like, so funny that at the end it's revealed that Thing is the dismembered hand from Isaac. And, like, they brought that up in the beginning of the season, talking about how Han didn't feel like he was being appreciated by the Adams, and then he wanted to, like, discover where he was come from, and it's revealed that he's Isaac Knight's dismembered hand that Morticia cut off to stop his whole evil plan of using Gomez's powers to change Francois from not being a Hyde anymore. So I thought it was kind of messy. If I'm being honest, I wasn't a big fan of it. I felt like they were trying to keep the Hyde storyline in there somehow, but they didn't flesh it out at all. Like, everything with Billie Piper's character, like, what was the point of Billie Piper's character? just for her at the end to be like, oh yeah, Tyler, we can like find you a pack of these outcast hides, that are living without masters. All because like her boyfriend in the past was like a hide who like attacked her or something. Like, I don't understand the Billie Piper character or the hide storyline. I just really don't think it was fleshed out. I felt like they dug themselves like a hole from season one because Tyler was such a big character. And then at the beginning of season two, they decide to kill Sheriff Gaplin off and then bring in Francois, like she's not actually dead. And then I, like, again, like just so messy. I was very disappointed with it. I'm happy that Tyler is still alive and, at least maybe he will be brought back one day. I feel like they're probably not going to bring him back in season three, which makes me really upset because I feel like he could be such like a good antagonist to Wednesday, but also maybe like off again, um, on again, off again lover, like in between with Enid, like, we could work it in there. So yeah, I'm just disappointed that there didn't really go too much with the storyline. Like, who knows? Maybe in season three, they will continue with Tyler's storyline and dive more into the Hyde stuff. But I feel like they just kind of wanted to get rid of them, and people didn't like recept well to Billie Piper's character because they didn't give her anything to do. I would have been much more receptive of her character if they gave her like a plot line. Like, she was just the music teacher that would talk to Enid and lock her up in like the wolf cages, the lunar cages, is that what they were called? And like she had some sort of high relation. So I just felt like she was very lacking development, and that whole close off of that storyline, I just was not a fan of it. Again, I feel like it was another way of trying to bring the whole Addams family into the storyline. I was much more interested in Wednesday's plot to try and get her powers back, and how in season one she like really overexerted herself and couldn't have her psychic abilities anymore. I was much more intrigued by that storyline, bringing in Hester Frump. I really did like her character and how she was much more of a distant, like isolated, cold character similar to Wednesday. And, like, how they're both ravens and discussing that, and how Morticia is more emotional and she is a dove, and kind of comparing if it's better to be emotional or more isolated, and seeing like the differences, the cons and the pros. I really liked that. I liked their little connection and how they were able to bring like the psychic link together. I thought that was a standout scene. I also think the big reveal at the end of the season that Ophelia Frump is actually alive and in a dungeon in Hester Frump's home. Like, okay, that's really bringing me back into season three, and I'm assuming they're going to bring that whole plot line in because Wednesday has like a whole psychic moment and she sees Ophelia. So I think she's like, is Aunt Ophelia actually alive? Aunt Ophelia is calling out to me. So I think that was interesting. I would like to more focus on Wednesday's like psychic abilities and her investigation in season three. Like, I didn't feel like we didn't get too much of that in season two. So though that would be my biggest criticism, is the whole lacking with the Hyde situation, just killing off Francois. And yeah, I just really didn't like the Billie Piper situation and how they wrapped everything up with Tyler. And I'm just not a big fan of the Isaac Knight storyline. I just thought that was kind of thrown in there to try and bring some, you know, big dramatic moment at the end with like kind of like a Frankenstein motif of trying to switch back Tyler and Francois and trying to make them not the Hyde anymore and stuff. So I don't know. I wasn't the biggest fan of season two. I also didn't love the Lady Gaga cameo. I'm a huge Lady Gaga fan, and I just felt like, I don't know, they could have done something a little bit differently. Like, again, I wasn't a big fan of this season, so I didn't love the whole switching episode, the Freaky Friday episode with an Enid and Wednesday. So like I don't love how like Lady Gaga was Rosalind Rotwell, which is like an old professor. Wednesday seeks her out to like try and help her get her psychic abilities back. And when she's in the middle of like doing the trial, Enid interrupts her and they like switch bodies. And then they have to try and get back before like the end of the day, I think, or like 48 hours or something like that. So she had a very limited role, and I guess that made sense because it was kind of just with the whole Bloody Mary height with the whole Wednesday dance that went viral on TikTok and other social medias. So Lady Gaga was like, yeah, of course I'll do the cameo. So I just love when Lady Gaga gets to act. Like, I really do love her in American Horror Story, and I think her in A Star is Born is also very amazing role. And I would have loved her to like dig into like the American Story vibes with Wednesday. I feel like that's kind of like a similar vibe and aesthetic, and I just kind of wish they gave her a little bit more. I feel like it was just like a very limited role, similar to like the Billie Piper character, and I would have liked if they expanded a bit more on it. Like, they have the budget, they have the time, and I just feel like a lot of the episodes are just kind of like filler. And I just, again, I wasn't a big fan of this season, so I feel like I don't have like a whole lot of positive things to say. I think, again, my most positive stuff would be the whole Raven situation, kind of involving Hester Frump and Morticia. I really do think Morticia stood out in this season and like standing up to her mother, and, revealing why Gomez doesn't have his powers anymore was also, kind of intriguing to see. He kind of had to sacrifice his powers for what he thought was going to be a good deed for his friend, and he was taken advantage of, and then he's been treated poorly ever since because now he doesn't have his powers. So I did think that was kind of interesting, and I do like having the family. I do like Pugsley and Morticia and Gomez, so like I'm not dissing them being in the season more. I just wish they were kind of utilized a bit better, and I wasn't a big fan of, again, the whole Francois and Isaac Knight's storyline. And I feel like that's what they were mainly utilized for in the second part of season 2. So I'm excited for season 3 because I would like to see more of Fred Armisen. I really do like his Uncle Fester, and he was only used sparingly in season 2. So I'll be watching the spin-off, and hopefully he'll also be in season 3. And I'm also very excited for the whole Aunt Ophelia storyline to be revealed. And now that Wednesday has her powers back, I think season 3 will be a little bit more on the level of what I want. I guess we'll have to see what happens with, Enid, and I feel like all the other characters were kind of just pushed to the side. They really just got rid of Bianca and her mother, and I feel like they didn't do too much with Ajax either. They kind of had Eugene in there a little bit at the end, which was nice because I really did like him and Wednesday's relationship in season 1. And they have like the whole like Pugsley thing going on. Like, he doesn't want to be friends with Pugsley, and that's why Pugsley looks for Slurp, and then he turns into Isaac. So I did like that they brought Eugene back in, so that was nice. But I was missing Bianca and Ajax, so I will be interested to see if like those characters are back in season 3, just because I'm kind of unsure what's going on with the school. Is the school closed? Is somebody going to become the principal again? Like, I'd be interested to see, how season 3, like what happens with it, what's the layout, are the friends in it more, or is it kind of more leaning into the Addams family and just like them? So, yeah, I'll be interested to see what happens with season 3. I feel like this is going to take forever to come out, so we will see what happens with the Uncle Fester spin-off show. I will make sure, in the future to post some reviews for those series when they come out eventually. I'd love to hear all your guys' thoughts on Wednesday season 2 part 2 down in the comments below. If you guys were a bigger fan of this season, let me know. Like, I always love having discussions seasons, and I would love for you guys to point out your pros for this season. What were your favorite parts? I'm just, again, I feel like because I was kind of disjointed watching this season as well, just with things going on in my personal life with Tiff and stuff, I feel like the disjointedness also kind of added to my dislike for the season. But again, I just feel like things were lacking, and I feel like the humor wasn't the same either. So I don't know. I'm still gonna watch season 3 and the spin-off, but I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments. If you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. It really does help all the interaction, push me out into the algorithm, help me come across other like-minded people's pages. If you enjoy my content, give me a subscribe and hit the notification button so you don't miss out on any videos I post. I'm trying to be a little bit more consistent with my content and post a couple times a week. I still have more TIFF content to be coming out too, so look out for that. And if you guys like my content, go follow me on TikTok because I post there daily. I also am on Awards Expert, updating all my awards predictions, and I'm also on Letterboxd, so every time I watch a movie, I log on Letterboxd and give it a review. So give me a follow on those social media platforms, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.